Hi everyone, this is Venus Brown. Today I'm going to be starting my rewatch of episode 4 through 6, starting today with episode 4. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications. In this episode, we have a lot of unsavory stuff happening between Rhaenyra and her uncle, Daemon. And then, of course, after that, because they don't go all the way, she's still left hot and bothered and then ends up doing things with Sir Criston Cole, which just really, I think, gets the ball rolling for a lot of horrific stuff that happens later on to really set up this situation that occurs at the end of the season. With the divisions between her, Allison, Sir Criston Cole, Daemon, all of that, I feel like it really stems from this episode right here.
My father and I...
And tell me, Lord Dondarrion, did you think my great-grandmother as beautiful as they say?
This was half a century ago, Princess.
Yes, it was.
That was unseemly, Princess.
The man is older than my father. It's unseemly for him to put himself forward as a contender for my hand.
Next.
And now a child.
It has a dragon, you dumb cunt.
Bracken.
I'm gonna learn to like that one.
Craven.
Don't look, Princess.
Don't look. Okay, you guys, I just had to show a close-up of that one because that was just priceless. Yeah, this little kid comes up and it seems ridiculous, but then what does he do? He freaking takes out this kid that makes fun of him. In that day and age, I think that shows some freaking guts, and I mean, more power to him. I understand why she wouldn't marry him, but I would have definitely been like, okay, we need to get this kid in our court. Some of the royal clothing is just so gorgeous and ornate. Oh yeah, Daemon.
Take cover!
You alright? Are you? Fetch the maester.
I'm fine.
He's like, oh, my Uncle Daemon is back. Of course, the episode where his grooming has paid off.
Add it to the chair.
He's looking at him like, I don't know what to make of this shit.
You wear a crown. Do you also call yourself king?
Once we smash the Triarchy, they name me King of the Narrow Sea. But I know that there is only one true king, Your Grace.
Who holds the stepstones?
The tides, the crabs, and 2,000 dead Triarchy corsairs staked to the sand to warn those who might follow.
Knight and Lord in the Seven Kingdoms fawning over you. What misery. It is rare for girls in this realm to get a choice between two suitors, no less 2 score of them.
Those men and boys don't fawn over me. Want my name in my Valyrian blood for their offspring.
I think it's rather romantic.
How romantic it must be to get imprisoned in a castle and made to squeeze out to heirs.
I find I have few friends lately. I like to believe I'm still the Lady Alicent, but all anyone sees when they look at me now is the Queen.
Now, see, that I would see as very frustrating, trying to live in that day and age, and the expectation of women all over the kingdom, but especially the expectation for royal women. And like she said, you know, they don't really usually get any real choice at all. So the reality that Rhaenyra is just pushing away all of these suitors while Alicent was forced to marry one person. She didn't really have any choice. And then that comment that she made about being forced to squeeze out babies, and that's the position that Alicent is in, that she stays in. She's just there to make babies. That, and because of her dad pushing her dad's agenda to try to get one of her babies on the throne, that like that's her, that basically becomes her life, is just getting everything in place to make one of the men in her family the king. Even Rhaenyra, with all these choices, she ends up in a position, because of what she does on this episode, she ends up in a position where she has no choice either. And even though the match on its face looks really good, it ends up putting her and him in a really awful position, because, like we find out later, he is not attracted to females. She is not attracted to him. He's not able to have kids, so even though they try at first to have kids, it doesn't happen. She's expected to have kids, and she ends up having kids with who she's attracted to. I mean, people get mad and upset that the kids she has look nothing like Laenor, which gives this obvious tell that they're bastards. But that's who she's attracted to. And at that point, like, what is the alternative? How many people that look like Laenor are really existing in that kingdom that are in that kind of position? I don't know. I think their idea that, oh, it doesn't look anything like him and she could have at least found somebody that looks similar, I think that's delusional. I also would like to say that even though there was this situation with these bastard children, that people like to blame that situation for the war that starts at the end, I don't think it would have mattered. I think even if she had no bastards, even if all her children were legitimate, there would have been a war anyway, because Hightowers, especially Otto Hightower, were banking on them getting into that position because they want a male in the position. They do not want females to be given any freaking credence when it comes to who becomes the heir. So the idea that even one of Rhaenyra's children would become heir would be moot, because they're not going to see Rhaenyra as a viable vessel for that. It was not about those bastard children. It was about them not wanting a female on the Iron Throne. That's my view on the matter anyway. Do this. Grooming begin.
Mature, perhaps.
You've matured yourself these last 4 years, Princess.
If House Velaryon entered into an alliance with the Free Cities, then we would have to seek our own marriage pact.
Dun 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 dun. Squeezing out those babes.
Sleep well, Princess.
Okay, so this is the last time that he sees her before the the incident. She's like, all this time, I never knew. I would find that exciting too, the whole thing of having a friggin' secret path behind your room. I used to love going and like exploring around in the woods and stuff. Old abandoned buildings. Damon in his creeper cape.
Our good king names his daughter, a girl, his heir. But then to him,
See,
a babe
that's what
is
it's about.
born.
It's about her being a girl, not about her bastards.
Who might you be running from now?
It's the Hobbit.
Princess.
And this is who she ends up having all her babies with.
Don't. The king has requested your presence.
Squeeze out more
The
babies.
hour is quite late.
Yes.
And by the way, episode 4 is called King of the Narrow Sea.
It's where people come to take what they want.
And that pulling off that beanie was definitely intentional. He wanted to make sure she was going to get spotted. That everyone would know who she was with and that it was the princess.
Fucking is a pleasure, you see. For the woman as it is the man. Marriage.
Except when it's not.
Yes. For fucking who we want.
Fucking who you want might have very little consequence for Damon, but it's usually going to have a lot of consequence for any female. Now, there were some people that were thinking that maybe he was having some performance issues. That maybe that was the struggle in his marriage in the first place, that Damon was having performance issues. I don't know, but it's possible.
I shall alert the Lord Commander.
My helmet.
Stop.
What should he do at that moment? It is his job to stop her. And I know a lot of people got really mad about the fact that Rhaenyra made him soil his white cloak. He was so upset about it later on that he offered to run off with her and get married. But the way I see it, if he was that upset about it, he should have voiced his opinion about that then. And he didn't. Because these are two real people with real human emotions who obviously like each other. Did she overstep her bounds? Yes. But he also didn't do his job. He knew he was breaking his oath.
A messenger brings word from the White Worm.
See, he specifically says the White Worm. This guy knows who the White Worm is then. And then he acts later on like he didn't know who she was. It's just nonsense.
Am I your prisoner?
White Worm.
That was once
Syria.
yours.
I have discomforting news. I thought it best shared discreetly before the council convenes. Deceased.
Except I don't think he's discomforted by it. I think he's happy about
I'm
it.
afraid it concerns the princess, my king.
Anything to get rid
she
of
been
the
harmed?
prince.
What behaviors?
Indeed.
What must I say at your praise?
You enter my bedchamber, accusing my daughter of something. Now speak it.
Spit it out.
Plainly.
Must maintain trusted sources of information, and this one as yet has never led me astray.
And see,
And several
says
of the
they never
servants
let
have
him
now
astray.
admitted to seeing her.
He's been working with her
princess.
for a while.
That you would have my daughter stalked, spied upon, awaiting your best chance to destroy her reputation. Your designs are obvious.
Do have Damon
Do you wish to have
watched,
your blood on the Iron Throne so
spied
badly that you
upon.
are willing to destroy mine own?
There's an elephant in the room.
I only want to help you, Rhaenyra.
Do you? As if you did.
Damon never touched me. I swear this to you, upon the memory of my mother.
It was foolish of you to place yourself in a position where your virtue could even come into question.
I mean, in a way, Rhaenyra lied there. In a way. She lied by omission, by not telling her what happened after the fact. She didn't lie about not having intercourse with Damon. She did lie about Damon not touching her. What I don't get, okay, a little bit later on, Alicent's going to have this discussion, and she seems to be very, very upset by the idea that Rhaenyra may have had sex with her uncle. Okay? And in this, in the scene that just happened, she also expresses a concern, which is a valid concern at that time. Girls whose reputations are sullied, they can completely ruin their lives. They can destroy their entire life. And so putting yourself in a situation where your reputation could even be questioned can completely ruin your life. And if she's very, very mad about that, then I guess I see why sex with Sir Criston Cole would be so upsetting to her. It just seems weird that she almost seems resigned to the idea at some point that this girl might have gotten herself involved with her uncle because she's a teenager, but then she's completely distraught about her having relations with Sir Criston Cole, who's not related to her. So I guess if it's not about the relation issue and it's only about the fact that she has sullied her reputation, then I guess that makes sense that she would be so upset. Except her reputation would have been just as sullied if it was Damon, maybe more so. But I don't know, it just seems like she goes from this position of realizing that she was wrong about who it was and got even madder about it. Like she was more upset about it. And that to me doesn't make sense. But maybe I was misreading that. I don't know. It just seems weird.
Didn't stop Aegon the Conqueror from taking a second wife.
You are no conqueror. You are a plague, sent to destroy me.
Give me Rhaenyra to take to wife.
He definitely intentionally took that hat cap off of her so that she would be recognized with him. Looks a little bit like he intentionally tried to do that so that he could get his brother to marry him off to her, because if anybody finds out about that, she's considered damaged property, and like I said, it'll ruin any girl's life. Then he might assume that his brother would marry her off because he'll know that her reputation's been destroyed. But is he really gonna assume that his brother would put up with that? Like, it's his daughter. I don't know. I think Damon is twisted enough that maybe he did really think that his brother would be willing to marry her off to him, which would put him in the position of being able to be on the throne. It's just not right.
Confessing to such things serve him.
By reducing you.
True.
Whatever transpired, Rhaenyra is not innocent.
True.
Only that she remains a maiden. And I believe her.
She didn't swear that she remains a maiden, but she did swear that she didn't do anything with Daemon. Maybe that is it. That she sees it as her swearing that she's still a maiden. And even if it's not Daemon, that still, to her, would be an out-and-out lie, I guess. In Rhaenyra's position, why would she go and say, oh yeah, but I did have sex with this guy? I would see why she wouldn't do that. And I wouldn't... It's a separate accusation.
I will do my duties there and with Sir Laenor. But you must first do yours as king.
Just 5 days. You went from being another man in Jaehaerys court to the second most powerful man in the realm. I wonder, how long did it take you to choose yourself over your king? But Alicent, she took me through the worst of my grief. She was a calculated distraction. I only now realize how well calculated it was.
That is an absurdity.
The absurdity was you sending her for that reason.
Your judgment has been compromised.
After listening to the whole conversation again, it almost sounds like he's saying, okay, you became the hand of the king from this terrible coincidence. But then he says that he wonders when he started putting himself above the king or something like that. And so that makes me think he's saying that he realized that at some point he started putting himself in this position where he was putting himself above everyone else. Uses that specific position with Otto's daughter coming in and carrying him through this devastating situation at just the right time. And rightfully realized that it was very calculated. It's kind of interesting. It took his daughter saying something about her being spied on for him to realize that his self-interest was at play in Alicent even being around. Like, Aegon wouldn't even exist if it weren't for Otto sending his daughter. So maybe that's why it really clued him in at that time. But I at first, when he said that 5 days thing, I really thought he was accusing Otto of, like, somehow having his dad killed, which who knows, there's a possibility. And I wanted to really listen to it again because I wasn't sure, like, where Otto was in the realm when that happened, but he said that Otto was in the king's court at the time. So he probably would have been right there. So is there a possibility that he could have been involved with Balon's death? Yeah. Is it likely? I don't know. But, yeah. Just, it's all very interesting to me. Vati.
Come.
It's the Maester. And we know who finds out about it. So where is he? He could have seen it being prepared. I suspect that he hides in places where people don't realize he's there. I suspect he knows about a lot of those secret passages and stuff in the castle. Just wonder where he would have learned about them. That was all of episode 4 for House of the Dragon Season 1. See you in the next episode. Hi, this is Venus Brown. Today I'm going to be doing the reaction for episode 5, We Light the Way. Okay, so this episode is the episode in which Rhaenyra gets married to Laenor. That does not happen till the end. And in the process, several other things happen. What appears to be Daemon's direct, indirect murder of his wife, however you want to put it. Because of him, his wife ends up dying. So he then becomes free to marry somebody else. Sir Criston Cole makes his proposal to Rhaenyra, which does not go off as he planned, and I really don't honestly know why he thought that it would go off as planned. Yes, Rhaenyra has a problem with all the traditions and expectations that are expected of females in royalty. That doesn't mean she's ready to just completely abandon her inheritance, her responsibilities, her place in the kingdom to go off and marry him. Even if she wanted to, like, his idea is that this somehow makes what he did to sully his honor and to soil his white cloak, like it makes it better. Really, I don't see how that's true. He's proposing that he take Rhaenyra to run away from her duties and responsibility, which is very important. That does not, in my opinion, wash away what he did by breaking his oath. His oath is still broken. It would put Rhaenyra in a situation where people are just going to be after her, trying to get her back. So I just don't see that as a viable option. That was him being delusional. None of those problems are solved, and instead Rhaenyra goes on with the wedding plans that they have and leaves Sir Criston Cole feeling very distraught and very upset and stressed out and not knowing what to do with himself, and he ends up at the end killing somebody in the process of just letting his anger go completely out of control. And that's also where we really get to see that first sign of his seeming inability to control his temper. Whereas most of the time doing his duty, he seems very chivalrous. He seems to keep his cool and keep collected, but he has these situations that creep up. He does not try to control his temper. And this, to me, is the real first sign of seeing that. And we get to see more of that later. But I think in one of the previous episodes, after rewatching it, I mentioned, because he had said when he went after Rhaenyra to try to get her back, and she was talking about her dad trying to marry her off to, whatever knight. And Sir Criston Cole said, "You want me to kill him?" Which seemed very joking, but who knows? At this point, the way he acts about this, maybe he wasn't joking. Maybe he was dead serious. We see the stuff that he does later on when he is under Alicent's control. And I doubt in this situation, when he was on Rhaenyra's side, I doubt he would be unwilling to do most of what Rhaenyra asks. There was one thing Alicent asked him to do that he was like, that's not my duty, which was when he told him to go and take Rhaenyra's child's eye. He did refuse that, but most of the time it seemed like he was willing to do whatever she asked. But I think that's because after this episode, she fairly well has control over him, and he feels that he owes his life to her. Anyway, on with the show. Here's Daemon in his creeper cape.
Husband, what brings you to the Vale? Or have you at last come to consummate our marriage? The Vale sheep might be willing, even if I'm not. Our sheep are prettier, after all. Or perhaps your brother has at last had his fill of your company. Cast you aside in favor of a little girl. What will you do now? Will you strike the child down?
Yep. She answered her own question.
I knew you couldn't finish. Craven!
The last episode, I had said that there are some people that thought that maybe the issue that Daemon had with his wife was performance issues. And some of the stuff she says in that scene definitely sounds like that may be connected to something like that. So, yeah, there's possibility. Doesn't mean you're never able to get it up. And this is where we first get to see the new hand, and we see that King Viserys is having trouble with the ship, which I just assumed he gets seasick, but I think he's also feeling ill because of all his infected wounds and everything, so it may just be because he is ill right now.
If you had not been so relentless in advancing Aegon as heir!
No.
You caused
You're
it.
no fool, or you cleave to Rhaenyra and pray for her mercy.
You completely laid out this path for your daughter. You put her on it. If it were not for your actions, she never would have been put in this position in the first place. This is on you. He looks so ecstatic. And well, so much color in his skin. I do like Driftmark. I think it's a pretty looking place. Dramatic seascape.
Where is Lord Corlys? What is the meaning of this, Lady Lena? Is this how House Velaryon greets its king?
My father has but just returned from his long journey, and he has hastened to the Hall of Nine to await your Grace's arrival.
It shouldn't be thriving here. Nature. Such mystery.
The weather has been
here
lovely.
we get to
And
meet
yet it is a dark
Larys.
day for the realm.
Larys, Lannis, Varys.
And still, the manner of your father perhaps in need of an ally.
I'm the Queen. I have no shortage of allies.
Naturally. Princess Rhaenyra, for example. If she could be relied upon now that she is unwell.
Unwell? I haven't heard anything.
Your father was dismissed. The Grand Maester delivered a tea to the princess's chambers.
How do you know that?
Tea.
And she doesn't even think to ask
Rhaenyra
him.
sells the things
Where
we
he got
got
his information.
yesterday.
Spying on people. But I guess she did learn from that, because she's going to need to know how to use that tea every time her son creates some bastard that she learns about. Unfortunately, it does nothing for all the bastards he creates that she doesn't necessarily learn about. Kind of interesting, given her vehement hatred of Rhaenyra having bastard children. Hall of Nine. I should look into that. Get a little more background on what it is. I just think the whole place is so beautiful. Spiral stairs, the driftwood throne, that giant fireplace. Some fingers now.
Are you well?
I tell you what, though, all those, like, every single episode, he just seemed to get, like, a little worse and a little worse until they changed the maesters. But even then, he still looked really bad. And it was like every episode, he was getting so bad. Like, you thought for sure, this guy is not going to make it much longer. Yeah, he made it till the frickin' bitter end. Like, almost the end of the season, he made it till. So, and dude was just looking like a straight-up gory skeleton by the time he finally passed away. He made it a lot longer than I thought. And at this point, he's just lost a couple fingers. Craziness.
Most of my days in this grandeur of the Red Keep, the halls of high tide never failed to impress.
You flatter me, Your Grace. Though I do wish we could meet under happier pretenses.
A hunting mishap.
Rising end. Lady Rhea's skill as both rider and hunter were well known.
The gods are cruel.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Lady Rhea was a
especially when the
fine
gods are not gods and they're Daemon.
Selena and Rhaenyra's children shall take their father's name.
Valari, in keeping with our traditions. However, at such time when their firstborn ascends the Iron Throne, he or she will do so bearing the name Targaryen.
I noticed on this end when I was watching The Crown is these traditions that I find odd when it comes to royalty, where they have name changes and stuff. They want these consistencies in name for the title. This is definitely a different situation. Just a little weird. You're used to the father's name kind of being used to carry on these family lines. In this situation, he's like, no, the Targaryen name is important, and so yes, your children can be born with their Valyrian names. When they take the throne, they're going to take that Targaryen name.
Dare I say it is a matter of taste?
There are those who like us very well.
We perform our duty to our fathers and to the realm. And when it's done, each of us dines as we see fit.
And they did try, even though people wondered, like, why didn't they try to have kids themselves? They did try.
Overextended
it just
myself.
didn't work. Some people are not fertile.
Pushed him too close to the edge.
My cousin
Some
chose to stay
people
alone to
cannot
this
have
time with
kids.
his husband.
He's still young.
She's not
He
that
will
young.
outgrow it.
No. It's
There's
not
no pleasure in the world like bedding a woman.
Yeah. If you're a man who's attracted to a woman, or a woman who's attracted to a woman, if you're not, then it doesn't work that way.
A true-born prince named Knives will come out for her, her husband, and for their heirs.
Our house controls the realm's navy and half its dragons. Anyone fool enough to challenge Rhaenyra's claim will be crushed.
It's what end callers. Wealth, power, pride.
Justice.
I just find her so wise.
By all
And
rights,
it is
you should be
interesting
queen of the Seven
how
Kingdoms.
difficult it is for men to accept
were robbed of
certain
the crown.
uncomfortable truths about their kids.
Because the realm would not have itself.
And that would remedy that.
This is just another example.
But the feast, the battles at
It
sea.
would have been nice to learn a little bit more about this guy before
You wear
he
your
was
crown,
bludgeoned to death.
Well, this is better than I could have hoped for.
Yeah, you had kept your mouth shut. You could have had his sworn protector, you could have been safe, everything could have been okay. But you had to, like, open your mouth up and be stupid. Piss off the hothead who can't control his temper, who's really upset at the time. Not that you knew, but still.
And see the world together. We will be nameless and free. Free to go where we like, to love as we like.
To pursue his own interests. And in turn he's gone to be the slave.
So you want me to be your whore? Broken it. I saw my white cloak, and it's the only thing I have to my fucking name. I thought if we were married, I might be able to restore it.
Being married doesn't break your broken vow of chastity. Look at those hands going.
I'm not unaware that in flush of youth, there may be errors made, breaches in resolve, breaches or rather lapses.
It happened, you agree?
See what I mean? She's like acting like she's resolved to it, like it's not that big a deal, but
Sin you allude to. I have committed it.
she finds out
Her
he did it,
instigation
and
is
she's
true,
like,
but
she's
it is no excuse.
surprised, which I don't blame her, but then she starts acting like she's
My
all
oath has been
distraught
broken.
by it.
I have dishonored myself.
More so than she was when she thought it was
I
Damon,
deserve no consideration.
which doesn't make sense to me.
Sentence me mercifully to death.
That's not something I'm ready for. See, when he told her, I really thought that things would be okay. Have some talks, figure things out. But she didn't try to talk to anybody. She just started putting shit in motion. At least that's what I'm assuming that she did. Started putting shit in motion. Like, What the fuck? How do you go from being resigned to the fact that,
I will bring the
you know, in the flush of youth, young people do stupid things, but then when you find out it's somebody who's not related to her, who she's close to, who she's been around all this time, who they both have been attracted to, like, how does that become so unbearable to her? This is the background that I have for this right there. That's pretty much the background, except my background picture has old maesters on each side of him.
Another lord might assure me that I would rise like Aegon the Conqueror given the chance. Your Grace, that is your right.
But a hand like that isn't being honest. So these are, I believe, Laena's dragons.
Where's the Queen? I had hoped to pay my respects.
Yeah, she's off meddling.
I understand the Queen is still
plotting revenge or something.
Woman will never be ready for your battle in time.
Go away. Nobody likes you. It's like I didn't invite you. Here's a spare chair. Grandstanding. All the green. Light the way.
Do you know what color it's balanced?
See, now we know what that even meant.
7 days, tournament, and feasting. At the end of it all,
Not to be.
a royal wedding
7 days of feasting.
between my daughter,
Not even 1 day of
Yeah.
feasting.
your future queen,
Because somebody
and
can't
Selena
keep their shit
Velaryon.
together. The thing above the table is very interesting. Flowers, but now it's almost like feathers or something.
It's different to combat.
We shall hope for a different outcome.
Yeah, unfortunately, apparently somebody's ready for combat when they come in there.
Know that Ozan stands with you.
I really would have liked more information on what actually went on with her after that. We know that it was more than just her dressing in a green dress and talking to the High Towers. I wonder what the age difference is between Daemon and his brother, Viserys. Yeah, and you should have left it to him.
There's a threat, so seems to be holding it together right now. Like, it sets him off later.
Mosh pit. Is Harwin the one that gets her out of there? I wonder if that's what starts that whole relationship. I know people said he pulled out the dagger, which would give Sir, like, nobody would question that he pounded the crap out of this guy. But it looks like there was blood. It looks like he may have actually stabbed him too, so that was giving even more appearance of being in the right. Out of there. So it was Harwin that took her out. Harwin was not in his knightly gear, so I wonder how many of the rest of the knights were not. Really, really would have liked more background on information on what the heck actually set him off like that. I mean, we know what was eating at him, but how did that result in this? Other than him pulling out the knife, because Sir Criston Cole was already pounding him before he ever brought the knife out. When I realized they were still doing the wedding after this, like that night, I was like, what the hell? I was just like staring in disbelief. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? Nobody went after him. Alicent to keep him from killing himself. See, Alicent's right there. She's still standing there. So how long is this? Seriously? Like, he's not wearing his gear right now. He already took it off. Unless they're showing two separate time frames. And this has already happened in Alicent. Or the other thing. Maybe that already happened. And the wedding is later. So you gotta wait for people to gain their composure and shit. So maybe Alicent stopped him before the wedding happened.
Now and forever.
Sir Kristen.
The rats that we see every now and then. I wonder if the rats are making him sick also. But I would think just the infections from his wounds would be just causing havoc on his body. Alright, so we've got the probably shortest Game of Thrones wedding done. Their week of tourneys and celebration definitely did not happen. Yeah, when I saw that they were going to continue on with that wedding without even the night to freaking figure out what happened or anything, I was like, are you fucking serious? Like, you're gonna just push this wedding forward like this after he lost his freaking partner? And man, what the heck. But Daemon's wife is dead. Some major hitting on people was going on in that wedding during the dancing before the Knight of Flowers was bludgeoned to death by Sir Criston Cole. Sir Criston Cole bludgeoned the Knight of Flowers to death, which was just awful. Could have been avoided, but there was no way for the Knight of Flowers to know the state that the other guy was in. And he was being stupid. Like, really not the best idea. He's another knight. He could have freaking had a little quiet talk with Sir Criston Cole later on when he wasn't in the middle of his boyfriend's wedding. But, come on. Her father passed out from being way too freaking ill, I think, because of infection. That's what I'm thinking. It's enough that Laenor and Rhaenyra got married. I mean, hadn't even been engaged. The entire episode, them traveling to Driftmark, getting engaged, Valyrian people traveling to King's Landing, doing the wedding ceremony, people dying, the whole wedding ceremony happening, all in one episode. That's a lot of stuff to compact into one episode. But I understand why they did it. They were trying to get a lot of stuff done so that they could get to the point of the actual war starting. Because that is the bulk of the story. While I would love to hear more backstory of the other things that were happening and about the other people that are in the show, I understand that they're trying to compact this part into one season, and that is very difficult. You're going to lose some context, you're going to lose some of the story, you're going to lose some of that backstory that people might really want to know, and you're going to lose a little bit of that, getting to know people in the position that they're in. So, and that's something that people talked about. It was a very, very good show. The show was done phenomenally well, but I was definitely frustrated knowing what was in the books and knowing that a lot of stuff was getting cut out. And especially knowing that they were presenting the show as if it was what really happened, while they were presenting the book as 4 or 5 different perspectives of what individual people were presenting as happening, so not necessarily the truth. They were different people's representations, and different people's views, because every person is going to come to the same situation from a different perspective, and especially if they are not there, they're going to very definitely come to the same scenario from a very different perspective. Hi everyone, this is Venus Brown. I'm finally doing episode 6 of House of the Dragon rewatch. Now this episode is called The Princess and the Queen. It has another time jump from the point that Princess Rhaenyra got married to the point that she's already had a couple of children. Time has obviously progressed, and she is, I believe, on her 3rd child. And I think this is one of the episodes that made me feel even more antagonistic about Queen Alicent, just because of the way that she treated Rhaenyra right after giving birth, just being very petty and very spiteful. It's been years, and this woman is still holding the biggest grudge over something that Rhaenyra did years ago. I see the bastard children aspect of this as just an excuse to keep on going with that grudge that she holds. And her grudge that she holds just causes a whole bunch of problems in the long run.
Good boy, Princess.
I really like to make those nasty, ishy-gishy, squishy sounds. And every time they show Rhaenyra having a birth, she's like so strong. She just, I mean, yeah, she started to say I can't, but she like pushes through it. And once she gets done, she doesn't stop, even with this nonsense that Alicent does.
Requested that the child be brought to her immediately. Why?
Because she's a conniving
I'll take it
wench.
myself. You should remain abed, Princess. Yes, I should. Help me dress.
Yes, she should.
Where is he? The afterbirth.
Like, seriously, she hadn't even delivered the afterbirth, and that woman was already, like, telling her that she needed to come right away.
Yes.
Well done. I'm glad I'm not a woman.
Here's to stating the obvious.
What is it? What is it? What is it?
Fuck. Walk. Walk.
Could you possibly want? I thought we were past this.
It is a privilege to be amongst the first to congratulate you.
Thank you, Lord Caswell.
If I may be of any service.
The day may yet come, my lord.
Lord Caswell, if I may be of service, the day may well come, Lord Caswell.
We are turning back. All right? She can come to us. All right?
Unless you wish to carry me down.
I'm already halfway up there. It's time to go.
He'll be called Joffrey.
It's an unusual name for a Valerian.
What do you
I do believe he has his father's nose.
Sure he does.
Mine's Lena. Sooner or later you may get one who looks like you.
So spiteful.
Please may I hold Joffrey?
No. Back to the dragon.
When I had my second kid, even when I was a little kid, and my mom had a baby, like at a certain point while they were infants, we were sat down on the couch. I sat my oldest down on the couch, got everything ready, and we let them hold the baby. And I was allowed to hold the baby. When it was an infant, you just had to set it up just right. But yeah, I get it right after it's born, and she's been through all that, and you're not ready for it. Probably don't want the little kids to be manhandling the infant yet. This is the first time we really get to see, you know, how they do the training for the dragons. So that was cool. It's also when all the animosity is created, I think, between the boys. Big Brother is obviously bullying on. Plays a really cool prank on him. It's really not nice.
Once they're fully bound to you, they will refuse to take instruction from any other.
Can I say it? Dracarys Vermax.
Right. How?
The gods provide.
Behold, the pink dread.
Be sure to mount her carefully. First flight's always rough.
Now, I will say that this kid has shown guts from the very beginning. I know people talked about him like he was a coward or something, or was weak, but the guts to freaking go in and do something like this, the guts to go and mount a dragon without, without going through all the proper procedures and training, that's not cowardice. This kid's got guts. He might not be the smartest, but he's definitely got guts. Wouldn't even say that he's not smart.
And 2 pairs of legs on each.
He's just dealing with
That's 200 S's.
petulant brother and cousins, and a realm that expects him to be ridiculously brave and treats him like crap.
They gave me a pig! A what? They said they found a dragon for me.
The last ring has no legs at all.
But it was a pig. You will have a dragon one day.
You'll have to close an eye.
I know it.
And this is the first time we see that she's got this ability to prophesy, that she has these kind of visions. And I wasn't sure for the longest time if she was aware that she had them, but I think maybe she isn't at that point, but I think she is by the next time that we see her
They're savages.
do that.
But it's not surprising.
Sure, it wasn't our Egon that put them up to it.
It's a wonder to me their eggs ever hatched. That in the end, honour and decency will prevail. We need to hew to that, and to each other.
Honor and decency indeed. Your kids are so honorable.
Whose idea is it?
Then I won't.
You are the challenge! You are the challenge, Egon! Simply by living and breathing! Except one day you will be our king. Get dressed.
This is a kid that obviously wants nothing to do with that. He is not presently the inheritor of the throne. His father never puts him forth as the inheritor of the throne. Yeah, I know, according to their traditions, he should be because he's a male. But the king spoke. They freaking acknowledged his wishes and continued to swear oaths to him based on those wishes. And there's Lena and Damon flying their dragons. They're both pretty awesome.
Your aim is to marry one of our daughters, Your Excellence. You might have said so and spared us the history lesson.
What?
I would not count myself so deserving.
We are travellers. We've already extended our...
It's a most generous offer.
And Mommy and Daddy don't always agree on the important things. What you're gonna do with your life and where you're gonna live. Okay, so I know there were people that complained about this. Damon working with, I think it was Bela, but not the other. The way I see it, though, when you have two kids who are very, very different, you are going to work with the one kid on what they're strong at and what they're good at. You probably will try to help them out with things they're not good at, too, to improve them, but those can also be very frustrating, so you're not going to want to do it a lot. It's frustrating for the parents, and it's frustrating for the child as well. You got to do it enough to get them up to par, but you don't want to do it so much that they're extremely frustrated and don't want anything to do with that. But the things that your kids are strong at, that's the stuff you're going to focus on. There is a reality that Bela is more like him and is more interested in the things that he's interested in, and so he is shown spending time working with her on these things that he's interested in and she's interested in. To me, that makes sense. While yes, it sort of shows favoritism, I think it more shows that he is working with their strengths and he's good with this. The dad's going to be good at certain things, the mom's going to be good at certain things, and both of them will be bad at certain things. So they're going to want to pay more focus on those things that they're good with and less focus on the things they're not good with. So I just don't see a problem with what he's doing. If it really looked like he was neglecting the other child or just wasn't giving her any attention, sure, but we don't see enough of the parenting dynamics in this relationship in the first place. We get little teeny bits for like one scene or two every once in a blue moon, and that's it. We've also heard that there were scenes cut out of the show where Damon was paying specific focus and attention to both kids that didn't end up in the show. And then there's also the situation later where it looks like he's really not helping his kids with their grief and stuff. And that was another thing where they actually cut scenes out that would have shown him being a decent, attentive father. So don't always take everything that you see on a show as this is the way it is and there is no other. Like, there's going to be a lot of other things that go on in this family dynamics that we're not going to see on this show just because of the matter of time. Having to jump in time so many times and trying to fit important things in while trying to decide what they're going to cut out. There's just a lot of important relationship building stuff and family dynamic stuff that does get cut out. So I don't think it means that Damon wasn't attentive or that he was showing traumatic amounts of favoritism for the one without the other. I think it was a reality of this is what these girls are interested in and what they're not interested in and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And Bela is just interested in and good at the kinds of things that Damon is.
Political scheming. The enemy is shifting, loyalties and successions, none of ours.
I think a lot of times, a lot of the stuff that Damon does, from the point of the end of that last episode till the rest of the series, is him dealing with his demons and his frustrations and him trying to run away from things that he is uncomfortable with, that he doesn't want to deal with. He's been shot down by his brother so many times, and I don't think he feels welcome in that area, so he wants to hide away from all of it. He doesn't have the relationship she has with him. Oh yeah, I remember when they first aired this episode.
This is the stuff lineup.
I like automatically questioned, is that Oldest possibly Kristen Cole's? I guess the show producers or showrunners have verified that this is not, that none of these kids are Kristen Cole's. But it does seem like the possibility could be there. I don't think they're ever very clear on exactly how old these kids are and how much time has passed since they had relations.
Boys could do better with a bit of your attention, Sir Christopher.
You question my method of instruction, sir?
Yes.
Well, I merely suggest that method be applied to all your pupils.
I mean, he definitely seems
Very well.
to be neglecting the other two.
Can't sell this, sir.
There would be something, though, if it did turn out that the oldest one was his kid, and he's like treating him like crap. Yeah, he's definitely showing his hand.
Don't let him get up. Stay on the attack.
And he's showing his hand too.
Accusations of an uglier treachery. And what's treachery, sir? Don't play the fool with me, boy.
Your intimacy with the Princess Rhaenyra is an offense that would mean exile and death. For you, for her, for the children.
It's rumor. Only.
If the king, it seems, will not accept what his eyes say. This flimsy shield alone stands between you and the headsman.
They're both Knights of the King's Guard, but I get Kristen Cole's supposed to be in some higher up position. Still.
In the defense of your...
I bet there's too much internet game playing in the other room going on.
To ease the pain, Princess.
This is the foreshadowing for the later leakage in the meeting. It's ridiculous that Alicent would draw attention to that. Being a female who's had kids and knows how humiliating that can be.
Even very much pain. Milk swells the breast.
Would you mind, Sir Carlo? I would like to speak with my husband.
Of course, Princess.
Yeah, some of that stuff can just be so freaking frustrating and infuriating. When women complain about patronizing behavior, this is the kind of shit. Like...
He's afoot again in the Stepstones, Rhaenyra.
Like, sometimes guys need to just
Triarchy takes new life.
He showed me a sack of sapphires, big as walnuts he took from a pirate he slew.
Now that, at least he's
After
talking
all
about
this
something
time, this is just what I need.
that interests him,
Little
that isn't
adventure.
patronizing to her.
Good honest battle to enliven my blood again.
Some of the other shit is just so annoying.
He says there is a Tyroshi general there, a giant, they say, who dyes his beard purple and wears women's frocks.
This was our agreement. I have not begrudged you. But you do not desert your post when the storm lashes.
The wise sailor flees the storm as it gathers.
And then she uses that later when she realizes that she is not safe to stay there.
This one also bears a marked but entirely coincidental resemblance to the command of the City Watch.
He seems to have left that detail out.
He said Commander of
And it's
City Watch, so
Westeros he's
wouldn't
strong.
that mean that
Depended on for a few hours of peaceful
that
oblivion.
Harwin Strong is actually higher up
Examine
than
the shit they drink here.
Kristen Cole? Oh, wait a minute. Probably because Kristen Cole is on
Do you know
the
the
King's
No.
Guard,
I don't believe you.
and Harwin is on City
You've law
Watch.
the virtues of Pentos, but you have
I
no
kind
interest
of
in
wouldn't see those as
If you
any
did, you
different
would venture
level,
into
but
the city, but
because the other one is
reading
closer
accounts
to
of
the
the
king.
same dead dragon.
Address the latest developments in the Stepstones, my lords.
Every shut of that blasted place.
Personally, I think the Blackwoods have the upper
Be
hand.
an issue.
We've moved on to the Stepstones, Lord Beesbury.
There is our Prince Daemon. I suppose I should call him king, as he styled himself when he won a battle there. Once.
It was a decade ago.
Apparently
and he has
10
since
years
left the
ago,
region
so
undefended.
just
We
deal
have
with
left
it.
undefended. There should have been fortifications built, watchtowers, a fleet of ships, a garrison of soldiers sent to hold our ground.
We cannot afford it. We must consider the cost to our subjects.
I must
The
agree.
cost of war
Cost
is
when you
greater.
keep having to have problems
But we
with a
have been
certain
lax,
area
and the
repeatedly
old lords
over and
do not
over
lift its
again
head.
are going to cost the people in finances and lives. and stress.
Let us be finished.
Livelihood.
A symbol of our goodwill. Rhaenyra.
You see, she could have just responded to what she said, not said anything. Nobody was paying attention to that but her. She just freaking drew attention to that. And she knows because she's been a freaking
the king and I thank
recent
you for
mother.
your offer, and we will consider it duly.
Your advice has been sage, unmarked by self-interest, which stands in contrast to all others. You speak kind words, but there is a shadow over my house, and it grows ever darker. I can no longer serve you with integrity. What is this shadow? Name it if it casts such a gloom.
Yes.
You will continue in your service to the crown. I would then ask leave to take my son from court and escort him back to the family seat at Harrenhal. He is my heir, and will be Lord of Harren's Castle one day. It is time he assumed his duties there.
Really sucks that his own kid kills him in that endeavor. Alright, so this is the meal she has with Lyris.
It's the truth himself.
Truth has many favours, Your Grace. Do you expect the king to doom his dear daughter to exile, or even...
Tell you not now.
The willful blindness. The king.
She, I think, was like
surely
sort of
suffered the same
spying on
affliction
Alice,
as
I would not.
giving information to the other side.
Lord Lion
so.
likes to escort.
And saying, my queen, that your father would be impartial in this matter.
Yeah, your father was never impartial. He will be partial to me. Exactly. See, I don't feel like that conversation really indicated that she was saying, yeah, you know, like, get rid of this problem.
What a collection
She was
of heroes
expressing frustration that it is a problem. And he just took it upon himself to get rid of that problem
deviant.
by killing his own family.
A traitor to the crown. Prepared to offer you mercy.
Is that what we
If
call
you're
it?
prepared to pay a little price.
Little up my ass. Like she's not.
The child will not come.
My brave girl.
The child won't come, so he doesn't say that it's breach. Just that it won't come.
Try to remove the infant by way of the blade. But I cannot say for a surety whether it lives.
Right there, she definitely looked like she was hearing
No.
part of the conversation. That's when she gets up. And people that had a problem with what she did, I'm sorry. Like when you're going through that kind of pain, and then the doctor says that he can't like make this happen, and that he might freaking cut her open to have the child, that's gonna freak anybody out. I don't blame her for killing herself at all. And see, she doesn't want to do it, but she also knows this is her owner and this is her owner's wishes. It's like this combination between I'm taught to obey my owner's commands and I don't want to hurt my owner.
I will be a stranger when we meet again.
Talon Strong, my father.
He is just not
Am
on
I
paper.
a bastard?
You are a Targaryen.
That's what that is.
She doesn't lie there. He is a Targaryen. Or at least he has Targaryen blood. Is he a bastard? According to papers, he's legitimate. And that's what I'm gonna go by. His papers and his non-biological dad accept him as his dad. And so he's legitimate. Even if he's not
We're finished.
biologically legitimate.
If you were absent from court, she would pour her honey in your father's ear.
The wise sailor flees the storms it gathers. Blame me.
Don't you love it when people throw your own statements
Bring
back at you?
We'll need every sword we can muster.
The reality that he would do this to his own family. That was jacked up. Or a Dragonstone.
A folly. A futility.
Took me so long to figure out who
Through
was
them
actually
you
saying
imagine
this.
you cheat the great darkness of
Varys.
its victory.
But I guess if that's how you think of your family, then I guess it might be more easy to kill your family. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.